The MC just could not believe it when he found that clumsy new male assistant's personal items sitting in his wife Lee Tin-ya's passenger seat for the 99th time. Furious, he tears into the guy and fires him on the spot, but the assistant just runs crying straight to Lee Tin-ya. And the result? Lee Tin-ya actually cancels his firing order completely. She even takes the custom-made watch that was originally meant for her husband and hands it to that assistant instead. She even brings him to an exclusive banquet meant strictly for top executives. That shameless assistant then actually texts him a photo just to brag. "Sorry, Mr. Lusig," he says. "It looks like Director Lee is playing favorites with me this time." Lu Vien says absolutely nothing. He just hires guys in monkey suits and drives straight to that banquet. The second he arrives, he rolls out a massive banner. It says, "Congratulations to the Lai Group assistant for leaving his sheer shirt in the director passenger seat for the 99th time, finally earning my pity." He scans the crowd for Lee Tin-ya and quickly spots her, holding that male assistant right by the arm. She is smiling brightly while chatting with everyone. He just gives a cold smirk and marches right up to them. He orders them to bang their gongs and shout out loud. The executive wife brought her little side piece to the event, so the official husband came to deliver the dowry. A booming, festive shout completely drowns out the elegant piano music. Every single sound in the hall stops dead, and hundreds of eyes instantly snap toward the entrance. Lee Tin-ya is still clinging to Tan Tan. Her smug expression completely freezes the second she sees her husband standing there with that giant banner. He gives a quick signal. Two huge guys carry a chest forward and pop it wide open right in front of everyone. Inside is a chest packed with brand new sheer spicy outfits in every color imaginable. He looks at Tefan and says, "I know you leave your clothes everywhere, so I specially prepared 365 sets for you." That is one set for every single day. Throw them in the director car, the office, or even the bed. Totally up to you. The crowd bursts into giggles while Tothan turns bright red, tearing up like some fragile piece of glass. "Lu Vien, haven't you caused enough of a scene here?" Lee Tin-ya finally loses her cool completely and snaps at him. He just grins widely. How is this a scene? Director Lee is hiding her little lover, and as the legal husband, he is just helping her go public with it. That is honestly pretty generous of him. Back when they first got together, that passenger seat belonged exclusively to him. During a company trip once, a male coworker asked for a ride, and she coldly rejected him right in front of everyone. Later that night at home, she hugged him tightly from behind. She told him her passenger seat was strictly for her husband, but ever since Tuthon showed up, that exact spot has been filled with things that do not belong to him. First, it was a button, then a whole lapel. Yesterday, it was a sheer shirt, making it exactly 99 times total. A promise from her turned out to be just like a cheap street flyer, handed out casually and forgotten the second she turns around. He held it all in time after time, constantly making excuses for her behavior. That is, until he got that photo from Totan this afternoon, showing the guy smiling with pure arrogance. Lee Tin-ya was gently helping him put on that exact same custom watch, originally meant for her husband. And the text read, "Sorry, Mr. Luce, Director Lai chose my side this time." The exact moment he saw that, something deep inside him completely shattered. He lifts his chin, staring directly at Lee Tin-ya. If she likes the guy so much, she should give him a proper title. This moment right here is incredibly tense. He tells her the official husband is personally delivering the dowry to give her lover some face. Lee Tin-ya's expression turns completely dark, radiating a suffocating pressure. The security guards try to rush in and take control, but he just glares. "This is Lai family business. Let us see who actually dares to touch me." The guards just exchange nervous looks, too scared to step forward. Meanwhile, Tothan cries out, "Brother Luke, I really did not do anything. Please do not misunderstand the director. It is entirely my fault." With red eyes, Totan grabs tightly onto Lee Tin-ya's sleeve, looking so incredibly weak and helpless. She snaps, "Enough. Go home by yourself. Stop embarrassing us here." Lee Tin-ya glares at her husband, her eyes practically overflowing with utter disappointment and exhaustion. She shields Tofan behind her and turns around to leave. He stares right at her back, speaking every single word clearly. "If you dare walk him out that door today, I guarantee tomorrow's headlines will be all about your messy affair with your assistant." Ultimately, Li Tinya does not leave alongside Tothan. She orders another assistant to take the guy home. Then she grabs her husband, practically dragging him straight into the private lounge. Now pay close attention to her excuse. Lu Vien, the company is preparing for our massive public listing right now. Did you really have to make things this incredibly ugly? She releases him, tugging her collar with a voice full of suppressed rage. He simply asks back, if not this, then what? Am I supposed to sit at home crying like a total loser, begging for your pity? Or maybe kneel down so you stop giving my things to your little side piece? Li Tinya's breath sharply hitches at that. She closes her eyes tightly. Tothan is not a side piece. He is literally just a fresh college graduate. It is completely normal for him to make silly little mistakes. You are just being way too petty. That custom watch was merely compensation because you fired him for absolutely no reason. He bursts out laughing so hard that tears actually fall. Li Tinya, you gave my personal belongings to your little lover, and now you want me to somehow sympathize with you? Do you think I am already dead or something? Li Tinya just sighs deeply, her tone softening into that usual coaxing habit of hers. Do not make things so incredibly complicated in your head. He and I have a purely professional relationship, just boss and subordinate. Lu Vien, you are honestly getting way too sensitive lately. Ever since he first found Tothan's sleeve in her car, this was the exact same excuse Li Tinya always used to cover things up. Saying he was being far too sensitive, causing trouble for no reason, and just not being tolerant enough. The blame always falls on me, but I didn't hire Tothan, and I didn't tell him to parade around in front of you all day either. And that habit of leaving his personal things in your car, not my doing. Li Tinya, am I just being sensitive, or has your heart really changed? My voice gets louder and louder. The raw emotion inside that cramped space just keeps boiling over. Li Tinya just frowns at me. She absolutely hates seeing me lose my cool like this, letting out a long, exhausted sigh.
She tells me it is just standard employee rewards, asking why I can't just be obedient like before. I actually laugh until tears hit my face.
10 whole years of being totally obedient. When she started her business and desperately needed funds, I sold my mom's old house for $3 million and gave her every single cent. When the company finally took off and she worked late every night, I cooked and brought her dinner daily so she wouldn't starve. When she became a top CEO, attending endless fancy parties, I studied business, management, and even golf, just for her sake. I learned absolutely everything that high society elites need to know, all just to stand beside her without causing her any kind of embarrassment. I played the good husband so well, I almost forgot who I really am, only to get a careless demand to be obedient. I look at that face, exactly the same as 10 years ago, feeling my nose sting. Li Tinya, 10 years of loyalty. And for what? Just to step aside for you and your male assistant. My words completely shut her down. Frowning deeply, she pulls a card from her bag and drops it right in front of me. Oh, you got to see this move. She says there's $3 million inside. Passcode is my birthday. Stop making a fuss. The company is going public and can't afford scandals. I just stare at that black card and burst out laughing. So in her eyes, all my anger and heartbreak tonight can simply be settled with a big pile of cash. I ask Li Tinya if she really thinks money solves everything. She answers like it is the most obvious thing ever, a stable life. She gave me plenty of wealth, so what am I still unhappy about? Turns out, a decade of devotion was just a paid transaction for my obedience in her eyes. And now that I am no longer playing nice, she simply throws even more money to buy my silence and shut me up completely. I nod and grab the card. Since CEO Li is being so incredibly generous, I really shouldn't be too unreasonable about this. So it is $3 million to buy my total silence tonight, right? She thinks I finally compromised, her face relaxing completely. But a second later, I whip that card straight into her face. The sharp edge leaves a thin red mark across her skin. She freezes in pure shock. I tell her coldly to take this $3 million and use it as a dowry for her precious assistant Tothan, because tonight is far from over. Li Tinya, having suppressed her anger all night, finally completely loses control and storms off in a rage. Then she starts her brutal, one-sided Cold War against me. I return home from the party and don't see her for a whole week. She won't even bother to answer her phone. She ignores all my texts, but somehow I spot her exact whereabouts right on Tothan's social media feed. In the picture, he is wearing this huge, baggy women's bathrobe with his hair soaking wet. The caption jokes about his clumsy cooking almost burning the entire kitchen down, but luckily his lovely firefighter sister was there to save him.
I instantly recognized that bathrobe. It is the exact gift I bought for Lee Thi-nya right when we first got married.
That kitchen is even more painfully familiar to me. It is inside our brand new marital home. Who that supposed firefighter sister is definitely goes without saying. Lee Thi-nya once promised that after the company went public and things slowed down, we would move there to enjoy the river view and a peaceful life. Yet here she is, bringing some other man right into our space. My heart tightens so hard I can barely even catch a breath. You can guess what happens next. Gripping my car keys, I drive like a madman to the East District. A stranger's shoes sit by the door, while laughter echoes from the living room. Lee Thi-nya is locked in Tothan's arms on the couch, intimately feeding each other fruit. Then they finally notice me. Tasan does not let go at all, actually hugging her tighter. He shamelessly holds her and has the nerve to ask why I am here. Absolutely ridiculous. He is holding my wife inside my own marital home, yet acting exactly like the master of the house, questioning why I showed up. Lee Thi-nya just frowns. Without a single ounce of guilt for being caught red-handed, she coldly asks me the exact same question. Why are you here? With entirely bloodshot eyes, I point right at Tothan. I demand Lee Thi-nya explain why he is wearing the bathrobe I bought her, parading around inside our marital home. Tothan tells me not to get angry, claiming he accidentally soaked his clothes, so Thi-nya just brought him here for a quick change. He weakly offers to take it off immediately. I fiercely tell him to do it right now. Instead, he simply pulls the robe wider, purposely exposing a large patch of his toned chest. He looks down at Lee Thi-nya, dragging out his words with a very clear, incredibly provoking edge to his voice. He begs Thi-nya to save him, teasing that he wears nothing underneath. His flirtatious tone goes straight to the bone. I clearly watch the woman in front of me swallow hard, her eyes suddenly darkening. Right then, pure fury completely explodes inside my brain. I grab Tothan by the collar and deliver a devastatingly hard punch. I yell at him to take it off and ask why he stopped. My merciless fists rain down on him as I drag him toward the door. He screams miserably for Thi-nya to save him. She yells out, asking if I am totally insane. Lee Thi-nya quickly reacts, forcefully shoving me away. My forehead smashes into the table corner, opening a painful gash right across my cheek. She doesn't even bother checking on me, tightly hugging Tothan instead, nervously shielding him. She claims I completely crossed the line and absolutely must apologize to him this time. No way, I reply coldly. But Lee Thi-nya's eyes are completely filled with a very clear warning. She says it seems she spoiled me way too much over the years, letting me look down on everyone. Since I cannot behave, I shouldn't blame her for being so ruthless. She actually backs up her words, freezing every single one of my bank cards. She repossesses the car, making every step forward extremely difficult for me. Right then, I finally realize the truth. Leaving her, standing up to her, it leaves me with absolutely nothing at all. I head straight to her office. She keeps her head down, processing documents, totally ignoring my shaking anger. She just wants to teach me a lesson. Apologize to Tothan, and she will immediately unlock everything. Otherwise, I will not get to spend a single dime. She reminds me she is the one providing my comfortable life, and she can take it all back anytime. Okay, very well. I just burst out laughing. 10 years of marriage and she is this heartless? Fine, I will apologize. My quick agreement actually makes her freeze for a second. I pull my lips into a pretty cold smile. I ask her, as long as I apologize, everything unlocks? She nods her head, completely surprised by this compromise, but her eyes still hold that absolute certainty. Thinking a full-time husband like me is fully trapped, she figures I won't try anything. Tothan probably thinks he can hold his head high now. He hurriedly contacts the media, eagerly starting a live stream for everyone. Naturally, I play right along with him, obediently agreeing. In front of the camera, I act incredibly sincere. Hello everyone, I am Look Vien, the husband of the Lee Group president. I am broadcasting live today to formally apologize to Tothan. It is for the incident a few days ago where I cursed at him and actually hit him. The comments just explode. They call me crazy, pitying the innocent To-thun. Watch how I turn this right around. I continue speaking. I say I should not have exposed the fact that Assistant To left his personal items in his married boss's car, my own wife, President Lee, exactly 99 times.
That is probably just a pure friendship, and I am the one thinking terribly wrong.
I also shouldn't have blamed my wife for giving my custom watch to Assistant To, because when Assistant To acts so pitiful and weak, it just makes people feel so much worse for him. Meanwhile, I am just a clumsy husband who only knows how to get angry, truly unworthy. I really should not have. Especially upon seeing Assistant To wearing my wife's intimate bathrobe, showing up right inside our own newlywed home, and even hugging and seducing her like that. I couldn't hold back from hitting him. I tell the audience I simply did not know I was ruining their good time. After saying that, I pull out screenshots of To-thun's posts, along with pictures of the watch and related photos, even playing a full video clip for them. Right when To-thun wears the bathrobe, deliberately trying to provoke Lee Xin-ya. They absolutely never expected this. Ever since suspecting their affair, I developed a quiet habit of turning on my audio and video recording at any given moment. To-thun's clumsy tricks và Lee Thi-nha's reactions are completely exposed right in front of countless netizens. The live stream is urgently cut off, but it's way too late. Public opinion flips instantly. People call the assistant a despicable homewrecker, pitying the real husband. No one expected Lee Thi-nha to be such sickening scum. The topic of the Lee Group president having an affair with her male assistant quickly climbs up the hot search rankings. Lee Thi-nha calls me frantically. I ignore it, just texting her one line. President Lee, this is exactly how I apologize. Are you quite satisfied? I know she has enough tricks to suppress public opinion. Sure enough, in less than 10 minutes, every trace on the internet gets completely wiped clean. But I do not care at all. I just want her to know Look Vian is not some soft persimmon anyone can just freely squeeze and mold. Unexpectedly, Lee Thi-nha returns that very night, holding my mother's medical records. She tells me, Look Vian, I have 0 patience left to play games with you. Do not forget your mother is still hospitalized, relying on massive medical fees every single day just to barely extend her life. Because of me, To-thun got criticized by everyone and hospitalized from anger, and she was almost summoned by the Securities Commission. From now on, I am not allowed to say another word outside, and I must personally apologize to To-thun. If I dare try anything else, she will not hesitate to cut my mother's medicine. I feel like I am falling into an ice cellar. Lee Thi-nha, are you even human? Did you forget why my mother is lying there? 5 years ago, when Lee Thi-nha faced revenge from rivals, my own mother rushed out to shield her. She took a heavy club for her, becoming a vegetative patient ever since. And now she actually dares to use this to threaten me? She just stays completely silent for a moment, then coldly replies. She remembers and hasn't forgotten. But I forced her hand, and she won't let anything happen. This hits incredibly hard. Whether my mother stays safe ultimately depends purely on my own behavior. I have lost the game. Lost absolutely completely. I might not care about money, and I might not care about my position as the Lee family president's husband, but I absolutely have to care about my mother.
She is my only remaining relative in this world. The very next day, inside Lee Thi-nha's office, To-thun is sitting on the sofa, smiling brightly.
I walk right up to her and bow down. I apologize, admitting I was wrong. She leans close to my ear. Wouldn't it be better if I acted like an obedient dog sooner? I simply cannot fight her. Lee Thi-nha is extremely satisfied with my current submissive behavior. Soon after, a massive sum of money gets transferred into my account, and my cards are finally unfrozen. She tries to reassure me, telling me to relax. She only used my mother to scare me and wouldn't actually harm her. After all, she saved her life once, and she is the only family I have left anyway. Then she coldly instructs me that tomorrow is the company's bell-ringing IPO day. Since my mood is unstable, I shouldn't show up. She will take To-thun instead. I just watch her back as she protectively leads To-thun away. I remember last year, my mom lying in that hospital bed. My wife held my hand, sobbing, swearing she'd take care of us for the rest of her life. Those tears were real back then, but so is her absolute coldness right now. I immediately contact a private hospital, transferring my mom overnight to a completely safe, secure location. Then I dial a certain number. President Gu, does that offer you mentioned still stand?
The man on the other end of the line is Gu Yanxi, Li Xia's absolute biggest competitor.
Of course, he tells me his terms are permanently valid. Perfect. I've got solid proof of Li Xia's tax evasion, plus files on her affairs with multiple men over the years. In exchange, I want 10% of Gu Corporation's shares. Deal.
The very next day. Now watch how this plays out. At the Lai Corporation's bell ringing ceremony, right as the host announces the official start, every single massive screen suddenly switches feeds. It's the exact photos I exposed during that live stream, followed by some way more shocking, completely devastating video clips. It includes scenes of Li Xia and Su Chen getting intimate in the office, in the car, and in our marital bedroom, all in glorious high definition, playing on a constant loop.
The whole venue erupts into chaos. Li Xia's face turns dark instantly, but before she can even react, her assistant comes sprinting over in absolute panic.
President Li, he yells, evidence of our tax invasion has completely blown up online. The tax bureau is already on their way, and the Gao family just snatched our biggest collaborative project. Before he can even finish, the Securities Commission staff makes an on-the-spot announcement. Given that the Lai Corporation is facing severe negative circumstances and highly suspected illegal violations, they have decided to cancel their listing qualifications. This double blow hits hard. Li Xia's expression looks absolutely awful, way worse than a literal corpse.
Watching the massive swarm of reporters rush in. President Li, do you have anything to say about the tax evasion charges? Any explanation for your affair with your male assistant?
Security fights desperately to hold back the frantic media. Guarded by her staff, Li Xia stumbles her way out of the venue in total disgrace. I stare at the overwhelming news on my phone, yet I don't feel that imagined thrill of victory. 10 whole years. My entire life revolved around this woman. Now that I've pushed her off a cliff with my own hands, I honestly feel a bit lost. Just half an hour later, Li Xia storms back inside, clothes all wrinkled, completely missing her usual high and mighty executive presence. With the Li family's power, figuring out this trick wouldn't be hard. It was you, wasn't it? She asks. The failed listing, the tax investigation, Gu Yanxi stealing the project. You did all of this. I just look at her calmly. So what? She didn't expect me to admit it so easily. I gave you a rich, upper-class life, she screams. So why destroy everything I worked so hard to build? I just burst out laughing. Li Xia, did you forget? Your startup capital back then was $3 million. Money I got from selling my mom's house. Do you even deserve to talk about shared ownership with me?
You're the one who cheated first, completely destroying my family, ruining absolutely everything we had. I merely smashed all these disgusting things to pieces. She's completely choked by my words, taking a very long time before her voice finally softens.
Lu Yuan, I know I was wrong. I was an absolute monster. If you just stop right now, I'll agree to anything you want. Wouldn't it be great to be in love like before? I laugh until tears fall. A shattered mirror can't ever be put back together. For the first time, this face I've known for 10 years looks incredibly foreign and sickening. This world doesn't just revolve around you, you know. You love when you want to, throw people away when you want to. Now that you're cornered, you really think playing the emotional card will make me clean up your mess? I pull a pre-prepared folder from my leather briefcase and throw it directly at her face. She looks down, freezing completely when she reads the words "divorce agreement" on the cover. You want to divorce me? I just sneer at her. What else? Should I just keep watching you and Su Chan get intimate right in front of me? Disgust myself to death? Sign it. I'll respect our 10 years of marriage and give you some dignity. She instantly flies into a rage, tearing the agreement into tiny shreds. I won't divorce you. You will never leave me. But here's the reality check. Li Xia. I tell her, today is just the appetizer. I still have dirt on you and Su Chin, enough to send both of you straight to prison. I brush the torn shreds of paper aside and pull open a drawer. Doesn't matter if you tear it. I printed plenty of copies. If I don't get that divorce certificate tomorrow, I guarantee all these documents go straight to the police. The very next morning, I arrive at the Civil Affairs Bureau 10 minutes early.
Li Xia is already there. She clearly hasn't slept all night. Dark bags under her eyes, looking completely drained and utterly defeated.
According to the divorce agreement, the marital home in the East City, our current villa, all the cars, and even half of the company shares are completely left to me.
I raise an eyebrow. President Lee sure is generous.
She gives a bitter smile. Half of this was always yours anyway, and right now, those shares are practically just scrap paper. I don't say another word, simply and decisively signing my name. This is exactly what I deserve. Holding that bright red divorce certificate in my hand, the whole thing honestly feels a little unreal. Walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, the rain stopped, the sun is beautiful. Li Xia calls out to me with a hoarse voice, eyes completely bloodshot.
Luyan, is there truly no chance left for us? This is the very first time in years she's shown this kind of weakness to me. But none of it matters anymore. From the exact moment you chose to protect Su Chen, we were already completely finished.
Partnering up with Cozy and He goes perfectly. She helps me handle the shares transferred over from Li Xia, and honestly, even a sinking ship has treasure. It ends up being a pretty massive payout for me. I use that money to start my own company, and my life finally starts heading in the exact right direction.
But Li Xia just keeps showing up in front of me like some stubborn ghost.
She uses work as an excuse, waiting downstairs at my office every single day, bringing along the specific flowers and pastries I used to love. When I reject her, she just stubbornly stands there all day long, completely ignoring the wind and rain. I really thought my ties with her would officially end the moment we signed those divorce papers.
You know how some people just never learn to back off with dignity? She actually gets even more ridiculous.
That day, the second I walk out of the building, I see her leaning against her car with a thermos and flowers, immediately running right over to me.
Look, Vian, your stomach is pretty bad, so I simmered the soup for you to take home.
This whole scene just makes me incredibly tired now. I blurted right out, CEO Lee, we are divorced, and I am already seeing someone new. So please, stop bothering me. Leaving her standing there with a pale face, muttering that it is impossible, I finally feel just a little bit of real peace.
But the very next day, I am having lunch with Cozy and He.
Discussing our next business moves, when Li Tingya suddenly storms right in, screaming at the top of her lungs, "Look, Vien, you absolute trash." Cozy and He instantly stands up, firmly blocking me, her eyes completely ice cold. CEO Lee, you really ought to keep some dignity in public. Dignity?
When my husband runs off with another woman, why would I ever need dignity?
Ko Jianyi, I seriously look down on you. No wonder you two partnered up so fast. You were secretly fooling around this whole time, right? The stares of everyone around us immediately snap in our direction, full of weird suspicion and pure disgust.
I step right out from behind Ko Jianyi. Li Tingya, you could not even keep yourself faithful.
Do you think everyone else is as dirty as you? Keep innocent people entirely out of our mess. But seeing Ko Jianyi protect me, plus me actively standing up for her, makes Li Tingya completely lose her mind. Maybe she still held on to the delusion that I would come back, never expecting I wouldn't look back once. Look, Vien, why pretend to be so clean?
I should have known earlier. A fickle guy like you could never handle being lonely. Just some useless trash that I do not even need.
And Cozy and He just happily picks it up, a perfect match for a dog. Absolute garbage just keeps spewing right out of her mouth. The very next second, Li Tingya takes a massive slap to the face. Not from me, but from Cozy He. That slap has some real weight to it. Li Tingya's cheek instantly swells up with a busted lip. Completely stunned, she freezes up, while Cozy and He shakes her wrist, eyes totally frozen. CEO Lee, consider this a warning. Right now, Luc Vien is not just my partner. He is the exact man I want to spend my entire life with. You dare say one more disrespectful word to him. I promise you and Lai Corporation will end up 100 times more pathetic than you are right now. Quo Corporation's acquisition plan moves forward perfectly smoothly, while Lai Corporation just keeps facing failure after failure. Honestly, I can't even tell if I'm just imagining things, but Cozy and He seems to be going after Li Tingya way harder than any regular rival. Shareholders of Li Corporation rush to sell off their stock, and the banks violently demand their loans back. While Li Tingya panics,
Tothan isn't sitting idle either. Realizing Lai Corporation is completely done for, he starts looking for an escape route, secretly contacting other companies.
He plans to sell off Lai Corporation's trade secrets for a pretty sweet payday, but the rival company just treats him like a corporate spy and calls the cops immediately.
Not only that, he even swipes the very last bit of cash.
Straight out of Li Xinya's personal account, planning to run away, only to get busted right on the spot by police waiting at the airport. At the exact same time, too desperate to turn things around, Li Tingya gets caught for forging the financial books. Locked up together at the police station, they just start tearing each other completely apart. Tothun screams that Li Tingya is totally useless, unable to beat me, and how she ruined him, dragging him into prison without making any money at all. Li Tingya just sees red, grabbing him by the throat, screaming that he is the absolute curse who destroyed her entire life. Ultimately, both of them get detained for investigation. It is a truly spectacular show of dogs biting dogs. When I finally hear the news, I am sitting there, staring blankly outside. Ko Zianhee asks what is on my mind. I give this self-mocking laugh, saying, I am wondering how my taste could have been so incredibly bad before. She stares at me intensely. It is not that your taste is bad. You just assume people are too good. But some people do not deserve your kind heart. Ko Zianhee's gaze is way too serious, making it pretty hard for me to look back for long. All this time, she has always stayed right by my side, planning out strategies, blocking the storms, acting as my shield without ever once overstepping her boundaries. What she gives me is real respect, deep support, and equal treatment. All the exact things Li Tingya had never once brought to the table. I say softly, Ko Zianhee, thank you. She smiles, her eyes sparkling, like there are actual stars in them. And my heart skips a tiny beat. In the following days, I am practically living at the hospital. Mom's condition is super stable. The doctor says even though the chances of waking up are low, it is not totally hopeless. Every single day, I sit by her side, talking, reading the news out loud to her. Ko Zianhee drops by pretty often too, always bringing exactly what our guy needs. Sometimes it is the latest business updates, or maybe just a simple bouquet of lilies, his absolute favorite flower. She never really brings up romance, choosing instead to quietly let her actions blend into his everyday life, bit by little bit. All the nurses at the hospital actually assume she is his girlfriend, constantly teasing him about how great his girl is. He just smiles back at them, never denying it, but never quite admitting it either. Then one day, while he is pushing his mom through the garden, Ko Zianhee shows up again. Wearing casual clothes today, she drops that sharp CEO vibe and looks way softer, almost like a sweet next-door neighbor. She naturally takes over the wheelchair from him, mentioning how incredibly nice the weather is today. He gives a small nod. Yeah, they just stroll along. Sunlight filters right through the leaves, casting these beautiful shifting shadows everywhere. Suddenly, she stops and gives him this serious look. Look, Vian, she says, the whole Li Tingya situation is over. He nods quietly. She swallows hard, looking visibly nervous now. She asks if he is willing to look forward now, like maybe looking at the person who has always stood right beside him. Check out this move. She pulls a tiny box from her pocket, revealing an absolutely dazzling ring inside that catches the light. His heart instantly skips a beat, yet he still cannot take it. It is not that he feels nothing, he is just too scared. After such a massive failed marriage, he is genuinely unsure if he has the courage to love again. He is even more afraid of not deserving her total sincerity, of holding her back somehow. Ko Zianhee does not push it. She just tucks the ring away and stays sweetly by his side, acting like that confession never even happened. Time quietly slips by, and his mom's condition keeps getting better. Even though she hasn't woken up yet, her vitals are totally stable, and some color has actually returned to her face. He gently wipes her hands while quietly mumbling to her. He tells his mom how amazing Ko Zianhee is, fitting that exact ideal partner image she always used to talk about. She is so mature, incredibly reliable, and just exceptionally patient. He admits every single nurse here calls her his girlfriend, but technically they aren't official, mostly because he hasn't completely agreed to it yet.
Right as he finishes speaking, the hospital door gently clicks open. Go Zin-hee walks in holding a warm thermos, her eyes completely filled with teasing laughter. She jokingly asks if he is badmouthing her. His face instantly flushes hot, and he awkwardly stands up, asking why she came. Just passing by. She brought him some fresh soup.
She sets the thermos on the nightstand, smoothly opening it up. It is freshly stewed and still hot, so he drinks it right away. The warm broth slides down his throat, bringing this incredibly soothing feeling.
Meanwhile, Lee Thi-yanya and To Thurn's criminal case is currently on trial. Rumor has it, those two are absolutely tearing each other apart behind bars.
Dragging out every single dirty secret they share. Their sentences keep getting heavier, meaning they are likely never stepping foot outside again. But honestly, none of that even matters to him anymore, especially since the nurses say his mom is doing better every single day.
He spends most of his time at the hospital, but somehow Go Zin-hee shows up even more often than he does. Sometimes, when work makes him late, he finds her already there, carefully wiping his mom's fingers with a warm towel. She is so intensely focused and gentle that he frequently just stands there, totally mesmerized. Then one afternoon, his mom's fingers suddenly twitch. He holds his breath, staring hard, too terrified to even blink. When her index finger actually moves again, hot tears instantly flood his eyes. The doctor rushes over for a quick checkup, fully confirming the new electrical activity in her brain. It is way more positive than before. This is a huge sign. If they just keep up the stimulation, a real miracle might actually happen here. He tightly grips his mom's hand, crying while repeating this amazing news right into her ear. Right then, Go Zin-hee pushes the door open, carrying a fresh fruit basket. He throws himself forward, hugging her tightly. He yells out that his mom's fingers actually moved. She freezes for a split second before brilliant joy fills her eyes, and she gently pats his shaking back. She says this is fantastic, reminding him she always knew his mom would recover. As his emotions finally settle down, he realizes he is still clinging to her arm in a super intimate pose. He tries to pull back, but she just hugs him tighter. Her embrace is so warm. Right there, he realizes maybe he should finally be brave one more time. Their relationship officially locks right into place. It flows forward, completely natural. She picks him up after work, and he brings her dinner whenever she works late. His mom's health also steadily improves. She hasn't woken up yet, but her fingers move way more often now. Sometimes when he sits there chatting, her eyelids even flutter just a little bit. The doctor calls it a miracle, but he knows full well half the credit belongs straight to Go Zin-hee.
It is her tireless patience by his side, giving him the raw strength to believe and hope again. She is the one constantly partnering with him to care for his mom.
Get ready for the perfect ending. The very day she proposes, his mom finally wakes up. They host a gorgeous beachside wedding, surrounded by warm sunshine, ocean breezes, and absolutely everyone who loves them. During the ring exchange, watching her slide that brilliant ring onto his finger just fills his entire soul with pure happiness. After the ceremony, they push his mom's wheelchair along the coastline. His mom looks over at Go Zin-hee, and though her words are still slightly slurred, her eyes are completely packed with pure satisfaction and comfort. The ocean breeze blows through their hair, while the sunset stretches their shadows long. The bitter past feels totally dead and gone. Their bright future, it starts right now. He leans in, pressing a soft kiss directly on the corner of her lips. "Miss Ko," he whispers, "please guide me for the rest of our lives."